Hey, Mom. What did you want to talk to me about? This is something very important I want you to keep in mind. Your wife should come from a situation that is worse than ours. It's just how things go. What? What are you talking about? She needs to be lower than us socially, financially, successfully. I'm not sure I follow what you're trying to say. Well, if you were my daughter, then I would want you to marry into a better family than ours, to give you some upwards movement. That's why I don't have any strict expectations for your future wife. You can work hard and give yourself a better life. You don't need to marry someone rich and successful. What else could I want for you than a happy marriage? Both her parents are alive and living together, which is a good sign. Mom, why would you say that? You're making me sound like damaged goods because I was only raised by a single parent. Well, it's basically the same thing. Your father and I divorced when you were only 8 years old. You know that. Even if you don't tell someone, though, they would be able to guess your parents were separated. Mom, what the hell? Don't interrupt me. You need to hear this. Anyway, the only thing you need to do with your marriage is make sure you choose a good sort of girl from a harmonious family. She'll be less likely to divorce you later if her parents are together. Kids learn how to behave from their parents, so we need to know they were setting a good example when she was growing up. That seems like a bit of an unreasonable standard, Mom. Don't you think you're becoming a bit obsessed with all this? You know that I was raised by a single mother. I have experienced this all myself. Your future wife needs to know that family is important, and that a child's parents are important too. Kids need two parents in their life to show them what a happy marriage looks like. Do you know that your family is precious? I mean, if you really thought family was so important, then wouldn't we have more contact with our family members? I live and die for the stock market. Do you really think I'm the sort of person that people are naturally fond of? Come on, Mom, don't you see my point? You would be against me marrying someone like that. You're so set on me finding a girl with a specific type of personality. Every time I've brought a girlfriend home to meet you, you say you don't like them from the moment they introduce themselves to you. You scowl at everyone who walks through our front door. Do you think people don't notice you acting like that? God, you're not understanding this. If I like them and think they would be a good match for you, then there would be no reason for me to respond to them like that. Well then, what about the last girl I brought over? When I brought her over to say hello to you, all you did was look her up and down, then turn around and walk away. You make it so obvious that you don't like them. You're trying to tell me the qualities I've never liked are actually a good thing. Why would I believe that? I have to make sure you make the right choice. I won't just sit by and watch you marry the wrong person. God, I feel like I was living in a prison for those 2 weeks we spent at your house. I gained so much weight from just sitting around. This is the last time I'll be spending this much time with you. You could hardly call it a vacation. Tell me about it. I just came back from staying with my in-laws and it was basically torture. I never want to do it again. Every day my patients whittled down to basically nothing. It's a miracle I didn't snap. We ended up having to buy most of the food for ourselves. Isn't that ridiculous? Who invites someone over their house then forces them to buy the food? It was so expensive. They seriously forced you to buy food? Basically. All the food they put in front of us was basically like hospital food. So bland and boring. I bet prisoners get fed better than we did. Literally not a trace of truffles or steak anywhere. We had to go out and buy all of it. I never want to go through that experience again. You did well. That's a bit like how I'm feeling staying in this house. I can't take it anymore. Why is she even still here then? She can leave at any time. Am I making it too obvious that I don't want her here? Is that why she's saying all this? I feel like I was acting exactly like she used to before I got married when we would go and visit her. I'm matching her behavior exactly. What's wrong with my expression? Mom, just leave it. This isn't a big deal. We can't know what will happen in the future. Maybe one day we will end up living together. Oh, now what are you talking about? You're going to give me nightmares thinking about us all stuck living in one little house. Sarah, I've just set the table and all the food is out. Won't you come through to the other room and eat? Oh my goodness, look at all of this! You've really made a big effort. Well, I knew Sarah would be coming and thought I should push myself to try making some new things. You're clearly a very skilled chef. This all looks amazing. I did my best to get rid of all the bones in the fish, but just be careful in case I missed any. It might be best to eat slowly. Wow! You've clearly been a very busy woman. This is quite the spread, thank you. Oh my goodness, you even made my favorite potato salad! That's so thoughtful of you! It's really very impressive. Thank you, Julia. Do you think you have enough food here? You'll be eating leftovers for weeks! Well, I knew that Sarah would be staying with us now until she finishes her treatment, so I thought cooking a lot of food in advance would help make things a bit easier. Is this the cheesecake that you made last time we saw you? No, my mom actually made that and brought it over for today. It's been in the fridge all morning, though. Don't worry. My mom has always loved cheesecake, and she's got lots of different recipes for all kinds of variations. It should be pretty good, I think. Okay, well, can you pack me some of the food? I want to take it with me when we leave. Oh, yes, of course. Man, this is all so delicious. This potato salad tastes just like the one you make. It's such a familiar flavor. The way you say that makes it sound like you think we've been buying pre-made food at the same store. I'm sure it's just a similar recipe to mine. Ellie is very smart to have prepared all this food at home. It's getting so expensive to buy things at the deli these days. She's being frugal. Wow, Mom, these sliders are delicious too. I could keep eating all this until I explode.
Wow, Mom, these sliders are delicious too. I could keep eating all this until I explode.
Oh my goodness, what happened to my little princess? Why is she repeating me like that? Is she serious? She was just complaining out loud about being here, and now she's acting like she's having the time of her life. I've noticed that kids who go to daycare actually end up talking faster, since they have people around them helping them practice all day. They can listen and repeat what the staff say, so it's a great opportunity for them to learn. This really is delicious, Ellie. I have to take some home with me, too. You could take some home to your husband, Julia. He'll be eating like a king tonight. My husband loves these little steak sliders, so I'll take the rest of these home for him. He'll be so excited. I mean, the steak was pretty expensive for those, so I couldn't make very many. I don't think there will be enough left for you and your mom to both take some. That's all. Maybe it's best to give the rest of them to your mom, and you can choose something else to take home? Wow, you haven't changed a bit since you got married. You're just as frugal and tight-fisted as ever. My God. Are you really that cheap? You have to spend money to get money. Have you never heard that saying? If you keep being as stingy as you are, you're going to end up living a miserable life and just make a big pile of money that you never spend. Just live every day as it is, and stop worrying so much about the future and your finances. It makes us all look bad to have such a cheapskate in the family. If you couldn't afford to buy enough steak, then maybe you shouldn't have bought any instead of getting such a tiny piece. It's like you're teasing us. Well, this is all making a lot more sense now. I guess you must have spent all your money on big, expensive items to maintain appearances, and that's why you had to come asking me to lend you some money. Well, I'm not able to make the fortune from the stock market like you, Julia. I just don't have the skills and qualifications to know how to do it and earn so much money. I just have to do my best and work hard at my normal job, earning enough to keep a roof over our heads. I just spend my days translating projects from Spanish to English for my clients, but that's it. It might not be fancy, but it's enough for me. I hope you can understand my situation. That just sounds like a mess. Why aren't you earning more money? Just try harder. Well then, I guess I'll just have to take something else home with me, if the steaks are going to Sarah. My mom lives very close to my mother-in-law. I'm sure we can manage. Well then, is your family as rich as you? Surely you can buy your own steak sliders if it's that important. I bet they have no idea about all the money you secretly borrowed from me. It must be about $500 that you never paid me back. Embarrassing. Sarah, did you get here okay? You took a taxi, right? Well, it was an Uber, but same difference, I suppose. I'm just glad to be back from the hospital. But thank you for asking about my journey. Did someone come by earlier to look at the air conditioning unit? I hope so. It's been pretty hot lately. Let me go and turn it on. Yes, a repairman came and fixed it. He must have left about an hour ago, so I've got it turned on now. Why do you keep asking if I'm cool enough? It's all you seem to talk about. I'm really fine. I just wanted to make sure it got fixed. I remembered you mentioning that it was broken. That's all. I'm sure you're very busy with your job. It sounds like you have a lot on your plate right now. Why couldn't you come to the hospital with me today? My boss told me I needed to send off some papers as soon as possible. I had no choice but to go back into the office. I think I told you about it at the time, didn't I? Have you finished all your work now? Did you manage to get it done? I did, yes. Well then, let's eat. I'm starving. The hospital food is so bad I couldn't even get it down. Sure thing. Sarah? What's wrong? Do you remember I had boxed up all the leftovers after we finished lunch? I can't see anything here. The fridge is completely empty. There literally isn't a single box left. Oh, yes. Julia stopped by earlier while you were at work and said you told her to take a look at what there was. I guess you took it with her. Oh, really? Why are you asking me, though? Do you think she was lying to me? She's clearly taken everything back to her place now. Sarah, there literally isn't a single bit of food in the fridge. I have made a bunch of everyone's favorites thinking it would be a nice, refreshing lunch for us in this humid weather. It looks like she emptied the whole fridge. If there isn't anything left, then I guess you'll just have to go and buy some pre-made stuff from the store. I'm starving. I just need to eat something as soon as possible. Stop complaining. I'm tired of you going on about it. But Sarah, she's taken things that I had made fresh this morning too. Not just the leftovers. I made some more for you and the little one. It was intended for you guys after you had your treatment at the hospital. This is such a bummer. I had worked so hard on everything. It was when the air conditioner was broken too, so I was sweating away making everything for you. Okay, well the air conditioning is fixed now, so there's no need to be upset about that. First, you just need to go to the store and pick up some bits for us to eat before I starve to death. You can just give the fridge a quick clean while it's empty and then restock it with new stuff. It's like a reset. That's all. Sarah, I don't feel like you're being very sympathetic here. What do you mean? What's the problem? Well, the food that Julia took wasn't stuff that you had made or paid for. I had made that for my family. I had bought all the ingredients myself and worked hard to make delicious food for everyone. How could Julia just turn up and take everything without even saying sorry for stealing? She didn't even call me to ask if it would be okay, or give me a heads up about what she was doing. Come on now. We're all family at the end of the day. I just want to see my daughter-in-law and spend some time with you. That's all. There's no reason to get all upset about a little thing like this. This is all because you grew up with a single mother. I can tell. Children that were raised without a real family always stick out from everyone else. You can spot them right away. They scrimp and save every penny. I've never known someone with a single mother that wasn't smart with their money. I can understand why you feel this way, but I'm telling you that it isn't a big deal, okay? Sarah, I've been doing my best to manage all the housework and jobs on my own until now. I spend so much of my free time cooking and cleaning. I've bought this apartment and let you come and live here with me while you're being treated at the hospital. Oh, come on now. You know you bought this place with money I gave you. Don't act like you did this all on your own. Sarah, please listen to me. For the last 5 years, I have saved every cent I earned, never buying myself any new clothes or nice things as a little present. I moved here in March, and I had to take out a loan to pay for it. I earned this place by myself. Sure, but the foundation of all the money you saved was from me. I gave you a starting point so that you could save what you earned. Are you proud to have grown up with divorced parents, always having to think about what you were spending your money on? Why do you always think of money as if you have to fight over it? We're family. You should share everything with us. Don't you think it's reasonable to share things with your family? I don't think Julia did anything wrong.
Sarah, why do you keep bringing up the fact that my parents were divorced? I don't see how that's relevant here, to be honest.
Well, it's like I already explained to you. No one from that kind of background can ever succeed in life. They carry too much baggage that will always be a mental block from having a proper mindset. I understand, honey. You don't need to be upset about that.
Not only are you completely wrong about that, that is not why I'm upset. I am upset because you and I both know that Julia earns enough money on her own. She spends a small fortune on clothes and bags. She can afford it. She has enough money that if she really didn't have time to cook for herself, then she could just go and buy stuff at the store. You can do anything if you have enough money these days. She can basically buy herself free time by not having to cook.
My goodness. You clearly feel very strongly about this. I can't believe you're so upset about sharing things with your family.
You have no idea how much I've shared with the family already. Julia owes me big time. I've lent her $500 and not had a word of thanks or a single cent paid back. Please, just get her to pay me back quickly. I can't afford for her to keep taking things from me.
Hey, Mom. What's wrong, honey? Me and Deli are both going to be working late today. Can you take care of Phoebe until we get back? We can't leave her on her own, obviously. Why can't she just go to her daycare? What happened?
I already spoke to the staff there about what we were going to do. She can't stay there after they close, so they're going to drop her off downstairs. You just have to pick her up and keep an eye on her. All you need to do is make sure you're here when they arrive so you can collect her.
Are you crazy? How can you ask me to do that for you? The elevator has broken and is all closed off. I'll have to walk all the way down and all the way back up. They kept coming round and knocking on doors all morning to make sure we knew the elevator was being serviced and couldn't be used. Look at me! Do you really think I can walk up and down 3 flights of stairs on my own? I'm an old woman! My feet ache all the time because of my arthritis, and I've been to hospital recently to receive treatment. You know I'm in no state to be taking care of a small child all evening. Mom, you've been walking fine all morning. I'm sure you can manage a few flights of stairs. Sure, I'm walking fine now, but I don't want to push it. I should be resting and taking care of myself, not watching your child. Besides, it's such a hot day out today.
Okay, then I guess I can speak to Phoebe's teacher and see if they can help at all. Maybe they would be able to bring her up to the 3rd floor, so you wouldn't have to carry her up yourself. I'm sure they wouldn't mind too much.
Well then, what time are the 2 of you going to get home?
I mean, if I get everything done as quickly as possible, then I'm guessing it would be about 8 o'clock tonight. There's a celebration at work today because one of the books I translated is being published, so I really need to be there. The author came all the way to the States to celebrate with us and say thank you. It would be rude of me to not go and introduce myself in person.
Well, that means I'm going to have to feed Phoebe on my own, too. Are you expecting me to cook her something?
Sarah, you're feeling well enough lately. I'm sure you can figure something out. There are some things in the fridge that I made recently, so you could just heat up some of that and I'm sure it would be fine. Phoebe isn't very picky.
No, I'm not doing it. The 2 of you are just going to have to figure out a way to get home earlier than you planned. I can't watch Phoebe on my own. She's so energetic and always running around. I can watch her for an hour, but I know I couldn't do any longer than that. You have to come home as soon as possible. Okay, Mom. I agree that Phoebe can be a bit naughty sometimes. We'll see what we can do. Babe, would you be able to come home a bit early and help out with taking care of her?
Fine, I guess so. I'll try and get home earlier than planned, Sarah, so you won't have to watch her for more than an hour or so.
Is that really what you're going to wear, by the way? Are you settled on choosing that outfit?
Yes, this is what I'm wearing. What's wrong with it? I tried to wear something that was professional, but also a bit fun.
You look very untidy and scruffy. You need to go and buy something else. You can't possibly wear that to a work event. You're earning all this money working long days at the office, but you never seem to spend it on anything. Aren't you embarrassed to look so shabby? People are going to think you're just Phoebe's childminder if you go out with her wearing something like that. It practically has holes in it. Take a look at your sister-in-law. She always looks so smart and well-dressed. She walks in the room and you can tell she's successful just from her outfit. You don't even have to buy designer things. Just get something that's better quality and looks nice.
When I make more money, I'm sure I will be able to dress as nicely as Julia does. It just isn't in our budget to spend loads of money on clothes right now.
Well, then I hope you make a decent living for yourself and get promoted soon. Please don't go out looking like this too often or people will start to talk.
Man, every second I spend talking to her, I can feel myself getting more and more annoyed. I can't remember a single day when I spoke to Sarah and she didn't start nagging me. It stresses me out just to look at her these days. I just have to hold on for a few more days. It's almost the weekend, and then this will be over and I'll be free.
Ellie, I have a request.
Yes, Sarah?
You know that bakery just outside the entrance to your building? You pass it when you're coming inside. Can you go and buy me a little cake or a pastry from there? I want to eat something sweet.
Sure thing, Sarah. Do you want a cheesecake or a cinnamon swirl? I remember those are usually your favorites.
Cinnamon swirl. They never have cheesecake in stock. You should know that. Why would you even bother asking me that? You should know what I want and just buy it for me without asking questions.
Please, God, Buddha, whichever deity I should be asking, give me the strength to deal with this woman. I just need the patience to bear it a little longer.
Ellie, are you busy? Can you talk for a second?
No, I'm not busy. I was just loading the laundry machine, that's all. Is something the matter?
There's just something I wanted to talk to you about.
Sure thing. Go ahead.
I just wanted to call you and talk to you about this first. I thought you might misunderstand if you weren't the first person I spoke to about it. Anyway, you're the first person I called.
Sure, Sarah. What's up?
How are you doing financially at the moment? Do you have any money left over after you pay your bills?
I'm sorry? I'm not sure what you mean. Are you asking for me to give you money?
God, why is this so awkward to talk about? Anyway, I didn't just call you to talk about money. Basically, Julia called and said that she needs some money for something, so we need to bail her out.
I thought she had a great job. How come she needs money from us? Doesn't she earn enough at work?
I'm too old to remember exactly what she said. My memory is letting me down these days. I don't know why she needs it or what she spent her own money on. She said that she needs to get a certain amount of money together by the end of this year, so we all need to chip in and help. How much are you going to lend her?
Sarah, I don't have any money to give her.
What did you say? Why don't you have any money? What did you spend it all on? I was only calling to ask you how much you would give. I assumed you would have it. Why would you bother answering me when I was asking questions and hinting at the situation if you weren't going to be able to help?
It's like I said, Sarah. I don't have any money that I can give her.
What would you do if your sister-in-law had contracted some kind of terminal illness and she needed the money to pay for her medical bills? Would you give her the money then?
Well, I'm sure that would never happen, but yes. In that circumstance, I would find a way to help with paying off her medical expenses.
So if you would give her the money in those circumstances, then that must mean you have money now?
No, I don't. If something like that were to happen, God forbid, I would have to take out a loan or go to the bank to find the money. It would be very urgent, so we wouldn't really have much choice. Like I said, though, that will never happen. Julia is such a healthy young woman. We both know that she's going to outlive all of us.
Yes, well, of course she isn't really ill, but it is an urgent situation anyway. Just give her the money.
Does she need to get a lot of money together, do you know?
Yes, she needs a lot. Come on, just give me the money and I can hand it on to her.
Sarah, I can barely afford to stay in this apartment on my salary. Things are really tight for us these days. Everything is getting more expensive, but I'm not earning any more money.
Wow, you really don't care about her at all, do you? This is because you didn't grow up with any siblings or a real family. What the hell is wrong with you that you won't help out your sister-in-law? People may come and go in your life, but you should always take care of your family. When an urgent problem comes up for one of your siblings, you help them. It's give and take. That's just how families work.
Sarah, I know that it's important to take care of your loved ones. Life is precious, and we're lucky to have people we care about in our lives. I don't think my relationship with your family has been very equal, though. It's always felt really one-sided. It's been like this ever since I got married, and it's exactly the same situation now. Besides, I did grow up with a loving family, and I know the kinds of sacrifices we make for our family members. I just can't help with this, though. I don't have any money lying around that I can give her.
How could you say something so selfish? Your sister-in-law is really struggling, and you're just going to say no when she asks you to help.
Sarah, I can't help. There's nothing I can do to change the situation, so there's no point going on about it. You should know that 2 years ago, I gave your daughter $500 when she told me she was in a tricky situation. She spent it straight away, but never paid me back, even though she promised it would be a loan and she would pay me back in full. If she's going through a tough time, she shouldn't be asking me for help. I already helped her once before, and I suffered as a result. Even if the stock market has completely collapsed and she's been financially ruined overnight, there still isn't anything I can do for her or for you. I have to be honest and realistic, even if you think I'm being rude or mean.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure that she borrowed that money from you?
Of course. You should ask her. You can find out for yourself.
Ellie, hi. It's me, Julia.
Oh, hi, Julia. What's up?
Nothing much. You're at home right now, right?
Of course I am, Julia. You know I work from home. I'm at home every day.
I'm on my way over to your place right now. Don't go anywhere.
Why are you coming over? You didn't speak to your mom, did you? Are you coming over to talk about that?
You're really just an evil person. Did you know that?
I'm sorry?
No, I'm being serious. I had completely forgotten about you lending me that money. It was so long ago. I trade such huge amounts of money that a few $100s is nothing to me. I forgot it even happened. Have you really been thinking about it this whole time? It's not even much money. Why did you take it so seriously?
Julia, the fact that you could just forget about $500 is insane to me. I know that you work with huge amounts of money, and I understand that this must seem like a drop in the ocean to you. But it's a big deal for me. Every time I see you, I wonder about when you're going to pay it back and how much longer I'm going to have to wait.
Well, if you kept thinking about it, then why didn't you just say something? God, this is so frustrating. What's wrong with you? If you don't remind someone about something they've clearly forgotten, then you don't get to be upset and resentful about them not paying you back.
Okay, well, now you know about it. Can't you just give me the $500 back now, then?
Even if I could afford it, I don't know why you haven't said something for 2 whole years. Fine, I'll pay it to you as some kind of widow's compensation. I have cash with me, so I'll go and get it from the car now. Just wait here and I'll be right back.
Oh my God, finally! I've been dreaming of this moment for 2 years. I can't believe it's really happening. What a windfall!
This is why I can't lend you money. You get so weird about paying it back. Still, it's funny to see you get so excited over a few $100s.
You think the situation is funny?
Of course I do. You're making a huge deal and holding a grudge over such a pathetic amount of money. And you're so excited to get it back. Now I know never to lend you money because you won't let it go.
I don't think taking $500 from someone is very funny. If it was me in your position, I would have done my very best to pay it back in a year at the most. This is just embarrassing for you.
Whatever. I said I'm paying you back now, so you can just drop it. I'm about to make it rain money on you.
What the hell? Why would a person who's asking her family members for money have no problem paying me hundreds of dollars with no notice? Why does she need us to pay her? How do you think she suddenly had the money to pay me back? Where can she have gotten it from so quickly?
She probably just sold some stocks. Her money is all locked up in the stock market.
Still, do you think stocks are worth that much? Is it really a smart investment?
Of course. Julia has made a great career from it.
Babe, what if I started investing too?
Calm down. There's a big risk when it comes to investing. What if we lost all our money?
Is it really that dangerous? How does Julia do it?
Whether or not you want to make a full-time career out of the stock market, you have to have some basic skills and knowledge of how it works before you can get started. You have to figure out your techniques and strategies for investing smartly, or you would crash and burn on your first attempt. Do you have any idea how much hard work it takes?
I mean, I thought so.
Does it look like Julia has just made a living from it out of luck? She's had to learn how to work the market. She's got all the know-how to be successful. Any normal person wouldn't have as much success as her on their first investments. I know you think you could get lucky, but this isn't the lottery. Investing would be a big mistake for us. Don't even think about it. It's too huge a risk.
Whatever. I was just asking since Julia is clearly making a lot of money. I was just asking to get your opinion. I don't really want to spend our money on stocks.
Ellie, it's me! Are you there?
Hi, Sarah. Yes, I'm here. What's up?
I'm here.
Sarah? Are you okay? What happened to your voice?
What do you mean? What's wrong with my voice?
Oh, it must be nothing. It just sounded like you might have caught a cold. Your voice seemed a bit hoarse and scratchy.
I haven't been sleeping well recently. I'm just tired. Do you have a second to chat?
Of course. What's on your mind? Are you definitely feeling well?
I was just calling to let you know I think I might have to come and stay with you and Steve for the time being. At your place.
What? Why?
Well, don't sound too excited about it. The way you said that made it seem like you thought it would be a bad thing.
I'm sorry, that wasn't what I meant. I'm just surprised. How come? It's not winter. Hopefully your house shouldn't be freezing like it was last year.
Actually, I started having some construction done on my house a couple of days ago, so I need to get out of the way.
Oh, really? What kind of construction? Did something break?
I had to get some repairs done on my roof, and while they were doing it... No, I won't say that. Julia came to stay with me too, so she needs some space.
What? How come? Surely she's going to work every day. Why is she living with you?
Oh, it's no big deal. There's a high-speed train from near my house into the city, so she's just been commuting.
Why did she suddenly decide to move in with you?
She just said that she wanted to be able to spend some more time with me, and now she says that she wants to move in with me permanently. Sometimes I wonder if she really is doing better than Steve. I worry about her, you know.
Oh, well... Gosh. She wants to live with you long term? Well, I'm sure you've been thinking about this for a while. Have you made a decision? It can be difficult to live with your child, regardless of whether it's your son or your daughter.
I have been thinking about my options, and I just don't know whether to just invite her whole family to come to my place. What do you think I should say?
Well, Julia is a very successful and impressive woman.
Her husband is the sort of man who just does whatever he's told and goes along with anyone else's plans, you know. I just worry now that I'm getting older. I feel my health getting worse every day, you know. My blood pressure isn't very good, and I have some problems with my heart. I just wanted to get my family together. Of course, I mentioned to them that some bits of the house needed fixing since it's a pretty old place, and they agreed to put some money into the repairs for me. I appreciate it, and of course it's going to be much better afterwards.
I have to say, Sarah, I'm a bit confused about why you're telling me about this when I'm not involved in the discussions.
What do you mean you're not involved? Don't be silly. I'm asking you if I can come stay with you for a while. That's all.
I just can't really believe you're wanting to move in with me and Steve without even mentioning any of this to us before. Of course, it's up to you and you have your freedom to decide. But you never mentioned anything until now. So this all seems a bit out of the blue. You could have told us about the repairs before they started construction so we could be a bit more prepared.
I didn't want to bother you. I was planning on just watching over things and managing everything by myself. I did my best to live amongst the noise and dust, but an old woman like me could only stand it for a couple of days before the dust made me start coughing and breathing badly. The construction workers said to me that they think it's going to take over a month, and I can't stand it for that long. It's basically going to be a new house by the time they're done. They're going to rip everything out. I just need to stay at your place for a while until it's all finished.
But, Sarah, it's just that...
What? You don't want to let me stay with you?
No, but surely you could go and stay with Julia. Her house is much bigger than ours. You'd be more comfortable with her.
No! I tried staying with them for a couple of days last summer, and it didn't work out. They both work very hard and were never at home. I hurt my leg and felt like such a burden on them. They didn't have the time to be taking care of me.
But didn't you just say Julia has moved in with you? Doesn't that mean you'll be living in the same place for a lot longer than 2 days? Sorry, but none of this is adding up for me. It's not making any sense who is living where.
No, it's very different when you have someone else staying in your home. I don't have to rely on her for anything at my place, because I'm comfortable there and know where everything is.
Oh, right. I see.
This is why I thought I would stay with you and Steve instead. I need to get out of my place for a while, and I thought I would come and speak to you about it since Steve isn't around. I thought you might have the decency and common sense to see what I was getting at. It would be a good opportunity for me to spend some time with my son, too, since I don't get to see him much.
Oh God, I'm actually going to lose my mind. No way can I spend the rest of my life with my mother-in-law. Even if it really was only for a month, I just couldn't stand it. I don't want her to move in with us.
What is going on here? Why are all the lights turned on? It's daylight outside. This is such a waste.
Oh, Sarah, I forgot you said you would make dinner tonight.
Goodness, aren't you a clever girl for that? Some memory you've got. You should use energy more carefully. You're just wasting it like this. It's so bright outside. You don't need all the lights on to see what you're doing.
Sarah, there are 4 people in our household now. It's inevitable that the lights will be left on sometimes. People just forget. Still, I put some energy-efficient bulbs around the house to help.
You think that's going to help? It's still much better to keep everything turned off when you're not using it. You're going to end up spending all the money your poor husband earns on your electric bill.
I work too, you know. We combine our income to pay for everything.
It doesn't matter how much you earn. Your money is your own. Just stop turning on all the lights. Besides, you can't be earning much. All you do all day is tap away on your computer in the corner of the room. It's not real work, really. Do you think your job is the same as a man going out and earning a fortune? Mom, let's eat. That's enough talking about money. Goodness, I swear my job is just running around the house and turning off all the lights. We don't need them all on at once. It's a full-time job, I'm telling you. Maybe I should make you pay me. I'll keep an eye on the lights and the electric bill from now on, Mom. Don't worry about it. Come on, let's sit down and have some dinner. Gosh, maybe one day we'll feel like a real family. This just looks sad, doesn't it? Now what's wrong, Mom? Look! The table is all set and you haven't laid a place for the little one so that she can sit with the adults. Don't you think you should make sure your daughter eats first? You should always prioritize your child. You have to be there for your daughter if you want to do a good job of raising her, and that means including her at dinner time. I want my little granddaughter to grow up surrounded by love and family. It's so important. I had hoped for a daughter-in-law who would know the importance of family too, but I guess you came from a broken home.
Sarah, don't you think you're being a bit harsh? It's just dinner.
You shouldn't be talking back to me like this when your child's education is such a mess. You're not teaching her what's important in life. How will she learn to respect her elders if her own mother won't sit down with her husband and mother-in-law? Still, I guess you just put yourself first, huh?
Nana, I'm hungry. Feed me.
What's the point of her going to daycare if she isn't learning any of this when she's there either? Don't they teach kids basic manners these days? I'm calling your teachers tomorrow and telling them that you were interrupting your Nana and begging for food. You'll be in big trouble.
No, Nana, please.
Sarah, please try not to get too upset about this. She's only 5 years old. There's no need to start threatening her and saying she's going to be in trouble. It's not good for a child's emotional development to teach them by punishing them. What are you talking about, babe? Yes, what do you mean, Ellie? Why would you side with your daughter against your own husband? God, I can't wait until the construction is finished on my house and I can move back in. I never imagined I would get stuck with a daughter-in-law like you, acting like a spoiled child when someone calls out her bad parenting. Why are you making your poor mother-in-law suffer? I don't even have a house right now. It's miserable for me. I can tell you now, neither of us can wait for this to be over. I'm just as miserable as you. I wonder if all mothers-in-law are as unbearable as Sarah. Surely not, or no one would ever want to invite them over to stay. Even just an hour feels like a year. The time is going so slowly. Phoebe has been saying for ages that she's hungry. She just wants to eat without all this arguing. She's been sat down at the table waiting for her dinner for so long. How many times does Sarah need to nag us about turning off the lights? It can't make that big of a difference to our electric bill. It looks like she cooked a bunch of things I don't like, too. Hey, babe. Yeah? What's wrong? Are you busy right now? Of course I'm busy. You know I have a deadline tomorrow. Okay, you're right, but I need to talk to you for a minute. Come and sit down. It won't take long, I promise. Do we really have to talk right now? I'm running out of time to get this done. It's important. What can possibly be so important it can't wait until tomorrow? You spent all day up in the mountains. I thought you were stopping at Julia's place on your way home. Wait a second. Do we need to talk about something your mom said? Yeah. Oh, for God's sake, he's making me so nervous. What can possibly have happened? Obviously, you've been at home, but I was so upset that I had to come back and talk to you. This again? Really? My mom was crying. I heard her sobbing about her little girl and a terrible mistake or something. I was going to ignore it and leave her to it. She doesn't like people seeing her cry, you know. But she's my mom, and I couldn't just leave her. Julia's husband was there too, trying to comfort her. Why not? He said there had been some kind of a fuss at their place. Come on, just tell me the whole story in one go. Stop talking so slow. I don't have time. Apparently, Julia lost a bunch of money in stocks, and they're all panicking. My God. Really? I think she must be in a lot of debt. Apparently, she was taking out loans to buy more stock to try and make the money back. I guess I should be lucky I got a worker bee wife like you, instead of someone who would spend all their money on stocks. Stop getting distracted and just get to the point. What are you actually trying to say? Actually, I've tried to stop her from doing something like this before. I called her and tried to talk her about it and say it was a mistake. Oh my God, this is unbearable. The problem is she keeps putting in a few $100s at a time, so it doesn't seem like too much money. Apparently, she was borrowing money from all over the place to try and buy the stocks back and free up the money that she had invested. You know how you can block a card, right? So it can't be used anymore. Stop talking about useless things! I don't understand what your point is here. What am I supposed to do about this? Oh, stop nagging me. I'm just trying to tell my story. Anyway, apparently some of the girls in the neighborhood that Julia had borrowed money from ended up in court for one reason or another. To earn a lot of money all at once, Julia decided to sell their house so she could pay everyone back. Okay, keep talking. Anyway, she sold the house and used the money to pay off all her debts and loans where it was possible. There is still quite a lot of money to pay back, though. She told me she owes about $12,000 in total. God, the two of them are so frustrating. Imagine being together for 4 years and then finding out your wife is selling your house and still owes $12,000.
I remember they spent all their money on a big fancy wedding when they first got together. They've never made smart purchases. At least they still managed to buy a house afterwards.
I stopped in to play some board games with my mom too, since I hadn't seen her in a while. She was talking about how she was remodeling her place, and it's going to be a completely new house once it's done. She suggested we move in with her once all the construction is finished, actually.
What about Julia? She's living with your mom right now. There's no space for us.
I mean, Julia's husband has always been a skinny guy. I'm sure he can squeeze in somewhere. I remember one time, we realized he was the width of a mini fridge. They were talking about getting a new car. Everyone was excited about looking at the latest models. I was waiting for my sister to explode with excitement, to be honest.
Well then, why is your mom crying? It sounds like they're doing much better financially.
Anyway, Mom was saying she wants to finish the house remodeling and then we move in with her. I did speak to Julia's husband about how we wouldn't all fit. It turns out that he filed for divorce after he found out that Julia had lost all their money, so he won't be moving in.
I would do the same thing, to be honest. He was smart to get out of there. I can't believe her mom isn't fuming with her.
Yeah, but it's more than that. What kind of man wants to live with his mother-in-law? I've never heard of a guy that said he would be happy to move in with his wife's family. Julia knew she could never persuade him to stay with her, so she just accepted it. He has more than enough evidence and reason to want a divorce, so she can hardly fight.
Is that why your mom is crying? Because Julia is getting divorced?
Yeah, she said she's really disappointed and upset about it all. I think she blames him. You know what my mom is like. You've spent enough time with her. She had always planned on giving her house to me one day, but I think now she wants to give it to Julia and move in with us.
You remember the last time your mom came to stay with us, right? We were all so uncomfortable and just kept arguing. That was why she moved out again as soon as possible. Did she really say she's coming back again?
It's a bit of an emergency, though, so of course her son should step up and help. No matter how uncomfortable it is, we don't really have a choice with how things have turned out. At least our house is cozy and has enough space. Hers is still dusty from all the renovations.
Okay, so you're saying that your mom is going to give her house to your sister, and she wants to move in with us afterwards? Is that what she said to you, or have I misunderstood?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, what do you think about it?
Well, no matter how I feel about it, I just want to help my mom out.
Okay then, go ahead. Tell your mom she can move in here and live with her family, if it's so important to her.
Really? Are you serious?
Of course. I mean, you would have to agree to a divorce with me, though.
What did you just say? Hey! How could you make it sound like you just wanted my opinion if you were going to say you wanted a divorce?
I heard your proposal, and I didn't like it. I've lived with your mom before, and I do not want to do it again. You've clearly already decided what you want to do, so talking to me about it is basically just you making a demand, right?
How was I making a demand?
Before you even asked me for my opinion on what I wanted to do, you twisted the situation so it would be difficult for me to say no. It was a ridiculous suggestion.
How can you say it was ridiculous? What choice do we have? My mom is old. Her generation has a certain way of thinking. It's expected that kids will make sacrifices to help their parents out.
No, she decided to rebuild her whole house by herself. Then after that, she invited her daughter to come and live with her when she spent all her money and managed to go broke. Now she's saying that she wants to move in with her son because she gave her house to her daughter? That's a self-made problem. We don't have to help her. How did she come up with this amazing plan? How weak is your mom that she would fall for this stupid idea?
My mom is doing her best. She didn't even want a daughter-in-law with divorced parents. Remember how upset she was when she found out about your family? She's devastated that now she has a divorcee daughter.
How dare you say that? Shut up right now. Why do I have to listen to this kind of horrible thing from my husband, no less? How long have we lived together? And still you are so rude about my parents. I don't want to hear anymore. Be quiet.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're right, I spoke out of turn. I just wanted to make it clear how desperate my mom is. She doesn't know what to do with herself. She never wanted a divorce in our family. She's so disappointed.
Julia made a huge amount of money from her job, and she never shared any of her success with us. I lent her money whenever she asked, and she never made any effort to pay me back. I don't see why we owe her anything after how she's treated us. Now she's gone and lost her house because she built up so much debt spending all her money on stocks. I don't understand why that means we have to suffer. We had nothing to do with any of it.
Honey, I'm saying they're both struggling. You know, I've heard there are loads of older moms whose daughters are moving back in with them these days. It's common for adults to live with their parents.
And where are all these people? I don't care if this is some kind of cultural movement. I refuse to live with my mother-in-law indefinitely. You never answered my question either. What does any of this have to do with me? I can't spend even a week living in the same house as your mother. It's completely unbearable.
Are you sure? Are you really certain about your decision?
I'm certain. I'm furious with you, too. You've handled this whole situation so badly. From where I'm standing, you refused to commit to a decision on your own and came to me for validation. I'm so mad. You should think about what you're deciding to do before you commit.
Okay. I think I understand what you're saying and why you feel the way you do. So let's just leave it.
How can you just say, let's leave it like that? You sound so cold and blunt. I want you to ask your colleagues about this when you go into the office tomorrow and get their opinions on everything. Come back after work and tell me exactly how many people understood your side of things in this situation.
I told you to leave it. That's enough.
Mama! Dada! It's so loud! I can't sleep! Stop shouting!
Oh, I'm sorry, baby. We didn't mean to wake you up. Come on, I'll tuck you back into bed.
Mama! Are you leaving Daddy if Nana moves in here?
No, sweetie, don't worry. I think you must have dreamed that. Good job, Steve. Now you've got our daughter parroting everything we've said. Where are you going?
Why are you asking?
Is it that crazy of a question? I asked you where you're going with our daughter.
My mom said she missed Phoebe and wanted to see her, so I'm taking her to visit for a little playdate. Is that allowed?
When will you be back? I asked you when you'll be back. Just answer me.
Come on, Phoebe, let's go and see Nana.
Look at him sneaking around. I told him I would rather die than live with his mother. What did I do to deserve this? I said we should just get a divorce if he wants her to move in so badly. Oh, shoot. Sarah's calling me. Man, I'm so nervous to hear whatever she wants to say to me. Hello? Sarah?
Hi, Ellie. It's me.
Yes, I know that, Sarah. What's up?
I'm not moving into your place.
Oh, I see.
Your pretty little Phoebe has saved your marriage. You should be thanking her. She was saying something about how you were going to divorce my son if I moved in with the two of you. How could you say something like that in front of your daughter?
Sarah, we weren't talking like that in front of her on purpose. We were fighting in the kitchen and the noise woke her up. She must have come downstairs and overheard what I was saying. Still, I guess kids can never lie about these things.
Well, anyway, there is absolutely no way I would move in with you now that I know what you're planning. How could you say something like that about your husband's family? I don't see why it would have been so difficult to live with me that you had to go to such extreme lengths. Still, I could never let my son get divorced over something like this, so I won't move in with you.
Why would she even want to live with us? In what world does that sound appealing? Surely when you get older, you would be more desperate to have your own space and independence. Wow. Isn't it so nice that we live by the lake? It's just beautiful here.
Sure, but why did you come down here and bring Phoebe? I know it's a Sunday, but surely you have things to do.
No, not really. Sunday is when I have the most free time to do what I want. I just wanted to have a nice picnic with my mother-in-law.
The food is very bland, you know.
I'm sorry?
You know, I've been thinking about everything that happened lately. I think I was being unreasonable when I asked you to let me move in with you. It was unfair. I'm sorry, sweetie.
Sarah?
Yes?
Julia's debt is hers, and it's not your problem. It's not your job to come running to fix her problems. You need to tell her to take care of things by herself. Why would you want to make yourself responsible for this? She has her new family to help her now.
I heard that apparently the remodeling on the house has cost about $70,000. I asked her if that was necessary, but she kept bragging about how much she was spending on it.
She's probably embarrassed that she still lives with her mom now, since she had moved out for a while. It's not as fun or exciting for her, you know?
Yeah, you're probably right. I guess she's trying to make herself feel better.
Sarah, I want to give you $7,000. Give back the money that Julia put towards the remodeling and construction and take back your house. It's your place. You earned it. Julia can find herself a room somewhere to move into. She'll be fine. She's a grown woman. She can figure it out.
Don't you think her in-laws should do something? They haven't helped her at all, you know.
She's probably ruined things with her in-laws, but it's her own fault that all this happened. She needs to learn to fix this by herself, since she was the one that caused this whole mess. Her husband loves her so much. He was never really going to divorce her. She just needs to figure out a plan and she'll be back on track. You should be able to live comfortably in your own home without worrying about her.
Do you think so? Thank you for being so thoughtful, Ellie. I'm so ashamed of myself for how I've judged you and your family all these years.
It doesn't matter whether or not Julia manages to pick herself up and start over making her own money. You need to just sit back and tell her you won't help if she comes begging you to save her. That way, she will have a much-needed wake-up call and sort herself out, and you can live your life again.
I know. You're right. I see now that it's a problem when I scoop her up and fix all her problems for her.
It's not too late, though, Sarah. I promise, you can get your house back and your daughter will be just fine.
Will you be able to come and visit me tomorrow?
Huh? Why do you ask that?
I want you to have the house. I owe you more than I ever knew.
No, Sarah. That isn't why I said I would give you the money.
I don't care how little money I have. I just know that Julia will always want everything she can get from me, and she'll come running back asking me to give her everything I have. It's better to do this, so I can be sure my house is safe. You would never kick me out of my own home and take it for yourself. I trust you with it more than my own daughter.
Don't you think you would feel empty without your own place? You've worked so hard for the life that you have.
Just take it. It's better than me selling it to some stranger who might ruin it. I want to pass it on to you so I can watch you live in and care for it properly. This way you don't have to keep working yourself to the bone to afford your place either.
Well, if you're sure about this. Don't worry, Sarah. The only life I know is working away like a little bee to cover my bills and pay for me and my family to live a simple life.
You've been raised well. You know that. I know you had a single mom, and I'm sure things were very difficult for her. She would be so proud of you right now.
Sarah, that's so sweet of you to say. I knew even from before I got married that my mother-in-law didn't like me, and she made no secret of why she was so against me. She hated the idea of her daughter-in-law coming from a family with divorced parents. She thought it made me wounded or broken somehow, and she would often bring it up in conversation. Before I married Steve, I met Sarah so we could get to know each other. She told me about her concerns, but we got married anyway, and I didn't feel too worried about it when we were still enjoying being newlyweds. Still, I did my best to get on with her while she was living in her own place and we were in ours. I was hurt though, and I put up with so many cruel comments and stabs from her about my background. I have something I want to say to any single women watching this, as someone with experience of marriage and married life. It's good to make an effort to get on with people, and presenting yourself a certain way can help you make a good impression on people. You should never try to change yourself to fit what your mother-in-law wants, though. The best way is always to be honest and be nothing but your true self. Don't try to impress people by being someone you're not. For the sake of my own mental health, I finally put my foot down and refused to just go along with whatever my mother-in-law wanted. And I'm proud of myself. I knew I made the right decision. People will take and take until you finally set a boundary, and you will never get any thanks. As soon as I refused and said no, my mother-in-law was so upset and offended that I told her no. Once you're married, your husband's family becomes yours. No matter how much you do for them, they will always find a way to criticize you. So you might as well do things that make you happy and comfortable instead of trying to please people. The best way to live is to do only the things that you want to do. Thank you for listening to today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like this video if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you next time!